I'll be honest, we are running short on time, so let's kickstart this next panel discussion. And I would like to ask on the stage the moderator for this next discussion. We already heard him, but it's my pleasure to introduce him again, Anton Adamovitch from the Commercialization Reactor. Welcome, Anton. Take your seat. We're seeing this next gentleman for the first time on this stage. He's representing the NATO Innovation Fund. And a fun fact about him, if the CV is correct, he's also been an engineer for a Formula One team. Maybe you will have some time to chat about that. I doubt it, but ladies and gentlemen, David Ordonez. David, welcome. Welcome on the stage. Nice to see you. Welcome, David. Welcoming back on the stage from startup Estonia, Vaido. Mikheim, Vaido. Exactly, representing through and through. Well, this next man is very risky. He got my audience drunk in his presentation, but we love him for it. We're welcoming back from Greece. He's the president and partner of Stone Capital, Michalis. Stangos, Michalis, welcome. Welcome back, Michalis. Nice to see you. And rounding up for this panel from Plug and Play Ventures, Leonardo, Rocchetti. Leonardo, welcome back. Welcome.
Leonardo.
All right, gentlemen, I will give you 25 minutes. Please make it short and sweet and on point. Thank you.
Short and sweet. Okay.
That's tough.
So, gentlemen, thank you very much for your presentations and thoughts throughout those several days. It's an honor to have this kind of caliber people sitting in the same panel and discussing what I believe everybody cares about. It's about the ecosystem, about opportunities for talent, and deep tech becomes a trend, a stronger trend with every year. It's an unprecedented level of development in this case. And we haven't seen that before. Do you agree that, that's my first question to all, that we've never had such a democratized environment for innovating? What is your thought about this? How important?
Well, we were kept asked to be sweet and short, so yes, I agree.
Probably not that short, but...
It's not like if my kid answers to me, he says ok, and that's everything I got out from him. No, I agree with you that everything has never been so accessible as it is now. But with that comes two downsides. One is overabundance of everything and the competition. So, you know, as a founder, you have 300 programs to choose from where to go. And this should put us as ecosystem builders and ecosystem developers, or at least we should consider this, that perhaps what made us successful will kill us in the future. So we have to adapt and evolve also with the times.
Thank you very much, Vaido. And that's sweet. That's still sweet, a bit longer, but sweet, because indeed there is a responsibility for ecosystem builders to push some narratives, some programs, set priorities for the talent to be able to take one program over the other. The competition indeed is huge. What is your take on this, Leonardo?
Yeah, like the competition is huge, so I agree with that. But as for your question, again, if it's easy today, like if it's a great time, like to innovate, like to start a company, I think is the right time to start a company. It's like being a founder has been like in the words of many like talented people. I think now is becoming much more like the preferred path when it comes to careers, because like young people, young talented people wants to have an impact, and like the startup founder role is becoming like much more sexy. So, and I think that this is something that together with like capital, like availability, is something that creates like the right environment to start a company. Of course, it's much more tougher, especially with the recent development of AI. So today, like, is also is a paradigm shift when it comes to technology. But in my opinion, like more talented people are starting companies like as a preferred career path.
Indeed, thank you so much. David, what would you reflect on this as well?
Yeah, I think I agree. It's the perfect time to innovate and create new companies that will change society. And it is precisely because all of these stakeholders, from researchers to capital allocators, LPs, and others, they just realize that most of the socio-economical issues that we're facing today and will face tomorrow can only be solved through science and technology. And so this is why deep tech becomes so relevant. And this is from climate change to food and energy security. Securing our borders is something that is very relevant to us here in Latvia. And so there is the best recipe to innovate and to push these new technologies that will solve the problems of today and tomorrow.
Nevertheless, the deep tech environment, regardless of it becoming more and more sexy and interesting, appealing, it is different. It is longer with more delayed rewards, deeper gaps, funding gaps, because the amount of capital that is required to move the idea towards flourishing, it's just, everything is harder. So therefore, the requirement for development funding and TRL gaps, all this has to be taken into account. And I would like to put an emphasis on this and ask Michalis, what is your take on this being for so long in the ecosystem building? Because you've mentioned in your keynote that at some point there was not even a fund, and then it developed. How well are we prepared to attract talent and having this responsibility in inviting people to do deep tech ventures?
I'll tell you. First of all, we have to say all the components are here to innovate. However, the game changer and somehow the ecosystem now has money, and it's pouring money, actually. I don't see a lack of funding. EU is pouring money to bridge the innovation lag, the innovation gap that there is with US. Okay, but this won't last forever. So the search for talent is actually the search of a mindset that we understand that we didn't find the EU funding and we're going to stay there for as long there is the funding available. There is a window of opportunity, is unique for all the stakeholders that are in this ecosystem, the startups, the researchers. The researchers until now, through Horizon, still had funding. The deep tech, as we now, say, it was the Horizon projects that again were funded by EU. The thing is how we take this knowledge, the talent that exists, and we transform it to successful, really big-scale companies that can compete in the global scene, in my opinion.
Thank you. Thank you very much for this. Vaido, would you have a comment from the Estonian ecosystem building?
Yeah, I agree with Michalis that it's not about money entirely. Funding is definitely an issue for the founders, so it's not easy. It's in no terms it's easy to raise funding. And the second part that you mentioned about scaling up and to having these real globally competitive companies is also definitely an issue in Europe. And if you go on a member state level, because Europe is a kind of a construct. Everybody talks about Europe. Whenever you go into any state, it's a Latvian startup, it's a German investor, it's a Greek, mature company, so on and so forth. So I would question very seriously whether we have a unity of effort in Europe. The part which I would like to stress here is that in order to get those scale-ups, we should have a much wider funnel in the beginning, and we should have the people who are doing that. And this ties back to the mindset part, and that it's all about the humans who are actually doing this stuff. It's not only about the technical procedures. And I think we're lacking here as well. We have a couple of demographic bombs ticking, which we perhaps are not paying enough attention to.
Did you say demographic problems?
Yep.
Can you elaborate a bit more on this?
We are getting older. The demographic trends in most European countries are negative. So we have less and less people coming. So we are not getting in the new people who are founding new companies, who are growing, who are the extra employees. So who is going to do that? Okay, we will digitalize, we will automatize, we will have AI. Okay, that demands energy. We will get to the energy part then. But, there are less and less kids. As simple as that.
What you mentioned, both Michalis and Vaido, I agree with it completely. And with demographic part, especially. So there's, let's say, a huge exclamation mark on what you said and my consensus on that. However, I would like to also highlight that, therefore, the smaller economies depend significantly on talent import.
Yeah, if I may, I give a very provocative example, and then I bounce it to, let me just check the name, David and Michalis, is that, you know, defense and dual use is a big thing. That's the modern hype, and not only hype, but it's a real need as well. But does that mean that we put extra money in there, or are we actually taking money away from Michalis' agriculture to put it into David's defense? And now, you know, what's your take on this one?
Yeah, what we're interested is on foundational technologies that will serve both a traditional commercial market as well as being able to apply it for defense, security, and resilience. And this obviously means from protecting our supply chain on critical materials, or being able to produce those critical materials inside Europe and NATO allies. And so it's not that you're taking money away from something and putting it into defense, it's that you are just building the foundational layer upon which you will be building the future technologies. And just to coming back to your question, Anton, I think deep tech is a different beast, and so you need a different approach in how you fund these companies. And this is the reason why the NATO Innovation Fund has a fund lifetime of 15 years, because you need to really support those long R&D cycles. And I think investors and the other stakeholders need to start thinking for the next 50 years rather than thinking for the next 5 years. And so the paradigm is completely changed with deep tech.
Okay, but let me again challenge you on this one. So funding, okay, maybe you find extra funds for that, but the people part, like, do we have like some secret, you know, defense guy stashed away in vault somewhere that hasn't been used before? Now they are actually coming and starting to build those dual-use startups and scale-ups? Or where did the people come from? Like, we are still actually, you know, playing around the same buttons on the chessboard, or the same pieces. So that's what I mean under this kind of demographic part and the people part.
It's true, Europe is aging, and there is no an easy solution to that. We're going to have to, and in comparison, you see an aging Europe and so fast developing Asia and the Middle East. You know, we have an average of 1 kid, and they have an average of 3 or 4. So by default, we need to see how we're going to handle it, and there is only one solution to it: to innovate. But actually innovate. And you were saying something about how you connect agriculture with defense. And I was reading a very interesting article on the Financial Times about cotton and how the fiber of cotton can be used on the missiles. Do you know that?
But without taking it to there, I don't think of a more important application here than securing our food supplies. And so this is what we deeply care about. And you can do this with agricultural technology.
Okay, let's move to the next question, because I think we can have a debate on this forever. I can feel this energy, and I'm not jumping into this. Let's go to the next question. Observation, my observation. So I think you also just mentioned it, Vaido. In the past years, there's a sudden peak of venture builders, incubators, accelerators in deep tech. It seems to be, well, as for now, it looks like a peak. There's just so many of those. And from one point of view, that's good. That's competition, that's diversity. But I want to know your opinions, each one of you. What do you think about this? Why do you think this is important? And do you see risks? And what type of risks coming with that kind of growth? Because we're talking about responsibility of ecosystem builders in front of talent. So what would be your take on that? Leonardo, let's start with you.
So, in my opinion, like, venture builders are a very interesting model, and especially in Europe, they might have like a good opportunity, especially because like the 95% of the patents that basically are released from universities are not used, so remain like without like having like a transformation into a product or service. And so this can be like also like one of the role of the venture builder, actually like taking these patents and bringing them out at the in a commercial market. In my opinion, one of the main risks that we always look at from an investor perspective is that when it comes to venture building, there's like a particular point on the cap table. So because like this, usually it should be like well structured, because it would prevent, like especially for maybe like later on investors like to inject like much more capital, especially when the TRL goes to 6 to 9, where they need like much more funding.
Thank you. Thank you, Vaido. What's your take on that?
We were actually discussing this on the breakfast table today with my colleagues from Estonia, that what we have seen in Estonian ecosystem is that a certain consolidation of ecosystem actors and incubators, accelerators, and different type of organizations. And I think it's okay that organically some of them are going to merge, some will disappear. It's the same with startups and scale-ups, that it's okay if some of the support organizations die or go out of business and the others get stronger. The question is that how do we also bring in the next generation there? Because there is a risk, I would put it this way, that those who are really experienced, they can, participate in tenders, in EU projects. They are well qualified, skilled, but those who are up and coming, they don't have the similar skills. They don't speak the EU lingo. They don't know where to mention sustainability, innovation, interdisciplinary, and all the right words. So how do we support those? That maybe we should encourage or design some of the instruments in a way that we bring up the newcomers as well. Yeah. And another part is that if there are folks out there who are doing their part really well, plug and play, doing really well industry interactions, like startup corporate collaborations. NATO Innovation Fund, I'm actually not picking on David, like also actually super good initiative. How we can tap into that one so we are not just pulling the cake towards our side and say that, no, this is my piece, I'm not sharing it. So this is what I'm seeing, that as an opportunity and the risk at the same time.
But that's also a cultural thing. Yeah, so this is hard to solve just by doing something. It's a continuous effort to bring people to this collaborative, unity-based environment.
The mindset has changed.
Say again?
It's more difficult to onboard new people because the mindset has changed. In at least the 10 years I was involved, it was more passion-driven, and the ecosystem was in the making. Now you have a more mature ecosystem, so becomes more like a business, and how you become sustainable as a business, which is a shift of mindset. And at the same time, the collaboration mindset of the ecosystem builders, I'm not sure that it's there yet, because plug and play, to be able to provide similar, better, different services like plug and play in Europe, we need to collaborate. Because the source of funding that plug and play has access to and the growth model they follow, it's tougher to be implemented in a fragmented, in the way we operate in Europe. So we need to work together to become more impactful, but it's not easy.
David, would you like to build up?
I do agree. I think we need to think about Europe as a whole country with different regions inside of it, and then collaborations can happen much easier. Back to your question, I think it's nevertheless great that there's all of this attention with regards to deep tech, and the ecosystems are maturing, because it just shows about the importance of science and technology in our lives. There's the obvious risk that new investors might get into it because of the influx of money, and then they will fail to adapt to the new nuances of investing in deep tech, and so everyone should be mindful of that it just requires extra effort.
But I was listening to all of you, and there is some notes that I pick up, considering the maturity of ecosystem, etc. But the ecosystem is broad. The deep tech effort, the innovation effort it's very broad. And I would like to challenge this thought that it's so mature, because I think that on European level we don't even have consensus what venture builder is, for example. Different people start to call different things the same name, and there is a blur in this case. There's no clarity. So there is. I remember, what was it? More than 10 years ago, deep tech was at some point trying to call itself high tech, but high-tech this name was hijacked in this case by a larger market of IT and, well, tech startups. So therefore, there was a necessity for a new word called deep tech just to go from there. And now everybody is calling themselves venture builders all of a sudden. So I think there is a room for also a new word to start here, because it's not quite, there's no consensus. Where does it start, where does it finish, and what it has to include, the venture builder. So what is your take on that, Vaido?
No, I think, you know, from a founder point of view, they don't really care about the definition of a venture builder. They have different worries. So it's the same with incubation and acceleration. It's the incubators and maybe the government who worries about the definition or about something like that. So I'm not too concerned about that. I was in the morning listening to the biocosmic stage, Catherine, who was saying that, you know, in biotech and in industrial biotech, you no longer employ only biologists or chemists, or now you need actually, you know, AI specialists. So you need people from different domains. I think one underestimated or underutilized resource is the social scientist. The deep tech kind of has been the domain of, you know, STEM people, like the programmers, the physicists, the engineers, but how we actually manage to implement the solution, what the market uptake is, that's on the humanitarian side of the science. And we should pull those people more in. So maybe they will figure out also the definition, but they can work the systems, and they will understand the systems. That I don't see the problem being in tech or in money anymore. The tech is ready, the funds are out there. We as a human race, we haven't implemented, I don't know even what percentage of the opportunities that are out there. That's my kind of little bit answering with a round of the definition issue.
Considering venture builders, for example, it's not about definition that I'm trying to bring a point. It's about the effort, where it's any effort has its start, its finish, its continuity, where you put more pressure on solving things, where less. And when you're speaking about incubation, you understand what this effort means. When you're speaking about acceleration, it is also more or less understood. But when we're speaking about venture building, it is, to me, as seeing now and being engaged in so many different also countries and EAT initiatives, that different organizations call it differently, and therefore not even putting this start and finish understanding of the effort.
How it will help you? You have been doing venture building for, what now, 15 years?
Yeah.
Commercialization Reactor, you probably would have given after every third year a different definition. And you know, if you had a similar definition, how it would have helped you? Would have you gotten more money from the Latvian government?
It's about not leading talent into trap of being misled by some sort of name. So it's for them to understand what really means what they're being offered. That's what I'm trying to build here, and would like to put an emphasis on for everybody.
That's a content for another panel.
Yeah. But thank you very much for your thought. Leonardo, what you think?
I mean, so there are many definitions on, you know, accelerator, incubator, like venture builder. So, and also, I think, so like from my personal perspective, like the venture builder is the place where the talent is brought together. Yeah. And the skills of the founders are merged to find like the team market fit that fits the best to start a venture. And the venture builder brings together the tools and the connection where these founders can go out and build in the ventures.
Thank you very much. We were actually thinking several years ago about this as well. Not about definitions, but how to articulate it with the talent. And I think we were the first ones, at least in this part of the world, to call ourselves a deep tech startup creation powerhouse, which again is something new, but just for everybody to hear this out. David, Michalis, I would like also to hear your thoughts on this.
Yeah, I think it's not about definition for me, it's about how you're building the ecosystem, and every ecosystem will have different needs. Some might need stronger links between research and industry or private companies. Some will need more access to public grants, some others to private capital. And so where does it start and where does it end? It's just, you need to look at how useful are your actions to the ecosystem. And so if there's a particular ecosystem that there's many examples of it, that you have a wealth of research and development, but you're not able to link it to the industry, then society will never see the benefits of that. And so you are a venture builder if you are able to make that link that is missing on the ecosystem. So it maybe can have many definitions.
Thank you for your thought, David. Michalis?
I agree. Yeah, you know, a venture builder, in one respect, is also the evolution of the ecosystem builder, because now it becomes the venture builder clarifies, has inside the part venture. The ecosystem builder, it doesn't have so clear the triangle. The venture builder, now it's clear to the startup as well that the venture builder is there that will take a part of the venture to help and enable it. So I believe that as we progress as an ecosystem, the venture building becomes an integral part, and also for the mindset of the startups and for the researcher, because at the beginning, if you remember, it was like, and going back to your first question about democratization, it was demonized the equity discussion between an ecosystem builder and a startup, in the sense that, and correct back then, but now you need to be based on an equity model to enable all stakeholders to run and succeed for it. So in that sense, the venture builder comes as a consequence of the maturity of the ecosystem, and to me it's an enabler of a more healthy structure that will also release more clearly power for growth.
Thank you very much for your thoughts, Michalis. I think that we all had a moment to share our opinions and express, and I would like to sincerely thank you for your time and being here with me today on the panel. Thank you very much.
I see the moderator already coming on stage. I promise I will not take more away than 10 seconds, but I want to make a shout out to Michalis that, you know, in every conference you hopefully see something new. During the daytime, giving out some ouzo to the audience, this was a new for me, so, you know, that's a shout out to Michalis.
A round of applause to all of the participants. Thank you, Anton, Vaido, Leonardo, David, Michalis. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Valuable insights, and do catch them. They're still here, they're still breathing, still have some energy left at the end of day 2, and use it to the best of your opportunities.